And of course, so for the last question, so bear with us, guys. We're almost at the end. So for those of us in a relationship, we know how that can affect our work and life balance. So we have decided to ask the only artist in the panel that has been in a long-term relationship on how his work and life balance has changed since being in one and the compromises that he has had to make. And of course, if people have any answers to that, please let us know in the
Let
chat.
us know in the chat,
We'll
and we'll read it out later.
It's really hard to answer because I've been in a relationship for 11, 12 years. So half of my life I've been in a relationship pretty much. It kind of grew with me. So, which I'm extremely fortunate to have from the person that I love, and that I know that I love from a young age, and then I trust very much. So we grew together, and since I'm with her, I feel like I've been with the three different persons because, and even myself, I changed so much, and so we grew together. So it kind of I can answer like it was like a smooth transition in that regard. I had to make a few compromises. Definitely, you always have to sacrifice things. For instance, when I went to FCD Singapore, I was 1 year away from my girlfriend. Also, when I went to Germany to Kratek, I also had to be another year away from it. Obviously, going more often to Portugal because it's in Europe. But nowadays, not as many. The compromise I have to make is just like I gotta go to bed with at the same time as her half of the days of the week because she enjoyed it. We go to bed at the same time. Although I always rather just stay working like another hour, another 2 hours, or another 3 hours because that helps me a lot to really have like a closure in my day. So it becomes extremely hard. Like the artist in me wants to sit like all night and all day just working personal work. But on the other hand, it's kind of cool because it's like a manager because it tells me like no you gotta go to bed and then the next day you're gonna wake up early because and then at the end of the day it helps a lot like everything else like sports and clients and extremely hard life as a freelancer that you have to manage everything by yourself. On the other hand, there's many pros. Like I had no bosses. I take breaks whenever I want. I manage my time the way I want. It's
Okay.
So I think it's a very interesting idea of having your partner in a way as your manager of sorts. That you have to, that they help you to, sleep at the right time, or realizing that maybe we have to go out to dinner at this time, or like come on we have to eat lunch now, and that's exactly the same experience for me. Is that sometimes I'm so caught up with my work, I want to chase after that closure that Silva does as well to the point I end up compromising on my own relationships. And yeah, that just hasn't led to very happy conclusions, man.
Yeah, but what I realized in the last, I think, 2 or 3 months is that at the end of the day, speaking about mortality, at the end of the day, who we're gonna be spending time with is our wives, right?
Yeah.
Our wives. Our children will probably leave us somewhere else, and the only person who's gonna be standing next to us at the end is my wife. So there's no point if I don't have a good relationship with my wife. So being in a relationship and being married has shifted my focus from always trying to be better at art by doing more work, and now it's more about spending more time to do more activities with my wife instead. How do you find that? How do you find, I guess, what compromises have you had to make yourself, Jourdan?
Same with me. And honestly, I will admit I'm a workaholic. And just because I'm doing well in my career and that I'm improving in my art, it doesn't mean that my relationship is. And I tried to explain it to my wife, and I'm very grateful that she's been very understanding. And to the point that I will admit, whether we consciously or not, I've taken advantage of that. To the point that I think it has just tested her patience to the point of breaking. And usually what ends up happening is that we end up getting into an argument, and from that argument I end up having to take a step back from my art as well, and doing and not getting as much work done, which in the end I realized that this will happen eventually anyways if I let it simmer for long enough. So why not take the approach of having a more balanced and spread out kind of lifestyle, where one thing that I've started doing after coming back home from work is that I spend 30 minutes just sitting down talking to her while doing chores like washing dishes. And hey, it might not be the most ideal way of spending time with each other, but I think it's about stealing as much time that you can in a day, even it is before sleep or in the morning when we wake up early together. And I've also decided to set off some time during the week on Wednesdays where I don't work, if she's not working as well, to spend time with her, just go out for a walk. Doesn't have to be crazy, but even just talking with each other, communicating is so important. And I usually end up coming back to work a lot more refreshed as well, Ken. I don't know if you find it the same way when you take some time off with your wife.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure, Jordan. I feel like this is a trap question.
No, definitely not. But like, it's a good thing, right? When we take a little bit of a break and then we come back more motivated. It doesn't even have to be like related to wives, but just breaks in general.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the important thing to note is quality time, right? I mean, if we're both just spending our time playing with our phones, even though it's supposed to be a time together, then I wouldn't say that qualifies as a time spent together. And at the end, it's kind of like wasted time. And I think it's important to use your time carefully so that you utilize it to the best of what you have instead.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's something that is a compromise.
Sorry.
Like both people have to make that sacrifice. It's not just one way.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think one of the biggest compromises for me is how much time I can spend working on my own project or freelance work, because nowadays I usually reserve my time after 6 p.m. for my wife, and other than that, I mean sometimes I still work late because it's urgent or it's inevitable, but I always try my best so that I leave the time for my wife. But
definitely.
It's sometimes it's just not possible to do that, which again, I'm glad that my wife is able to make her compromises as well. So I think it
has to be a two-way street. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important to have a discussion. Sit down with your wife and have a discussion on how you both want to approach each other's or respect each other's schedule and goals, life goals, right?
Yeah, I agree completely. And it looks like Vina in the chat agrees with that as well.
Of course.
So yeah, I would say in the end, for me personally, my relationships are still more important to art, and it's as much as my workaholic self and ambitious self would not like to admit that it is. And I've made changes accordingly, and that has also been through trial and error. But preferably don't let it get to such a breaking point if possible. And there's actually since there's not too much else to discuss on this one, I think we can close this off with the last question by World Teller, and this is quite a heavy one, so I think we can just spend the last few minutes of this segment just answering it. And World Teller has typed in the chat. I got to a level of being able to freelance consistently, as well as having a very caring art and study group. Then my life circumstances fell apart and I lost most all of my motivation, self-respect, and got depression and burnout. How would one get out of a metaphorical deep hole? I'm ashamed of where I am in life right now. And yeah, that is a very heavy one. And I can start off. And I don't know what exactly your circumstances are, World Teller. But in my case, I have had some similar circumstances where I felt like I had similar environment that was very productive and very helpful towards growth in my art, and that was during my time in FZD. But then after that, as soon as FZD ended and I had my own life and I got married and I was struggling with my own career and I did not have a job, I had barely any savings, and also seeing all of my friends succeed around me, I experienced quite a lot of those things as well. I didn't have my self-respect because what kind of husband am I to not be able to do all of these things for my wife? Second of all, depression, because yes, it's not a great position to be in. I felt humiliated and I just didn't feel like there was much worth to myself. And burnout as well, similarly, because I was just trying to bury myself in my work to find a way out. And of course, to a large extent, it has to do with that. But I think what really helped wake me up, in a sense, was just hitting rock bottom, is getting so sick of being sick of where I am, because I woke up and not looking forward to it and not really looking forward to anything in the future. And I thought to myself that there must be more to life than this, and I don't want this to be the rest of my life, and especially with my wife's livelihood on the line as well. I did not want her to also be brought down with me. And after you hit rock bottom, sometimes what else have you got to lose but sacrificing and just pushing through and sacrificing some of your peace of mind and also to a certain extent your well-being in order to get yourself out of that situation. And that to me meant getting less sleep and being a lot more stressed out. But I had a clear goal of what I wanted, and I think that would be my answer to how to get out of that metaphorical deep hole, is that I really thought long about it and I dug deep within myself on what I wanted out of life and what the reason for living was. And for me, it was to be able to build a better future for my wife and future kids.
Well,
And
I think
sorry,
go ahead.
that's what really helped me give that focus to allow myself to put all of my energy and time and everything that I was doing on a daily basis to putting all of that to words. So that would be my answer.
And if I may add just a little bit to that, is if you actually do have some sort of maybe mental health problems, then it's don't ever be ashamed of going to a doctor to seek help, professional help for that. So that's my advice. And I think you've put everything else quite beautifully, so I can't really add more to that. So
and I will just say as well, being honest with yourself and knowing what your circumstances are. If you can change your circumstances somehow by being closer with the people that can help you and just putting yourself in a better place, or maybe even taking some time off of work, maybe that is actually what's causing you to not be so productive and motivated, is that you're so stuck in your current situation. Maybe you need a little bit of time to just get out of it and get a fresher perspective. So it's because we don't know your specific circumstances, World Teller. We can't give you specific advice. But yeah, I do think taking a step back and digging deep within yourself and asking why you're feeling this way and if there's anything at all you can do about it, and just start chipping away at it bit by bit. And I think as soon as you see that you're making steps towards where you want to be in life, it becomes a lot easier, and you'll have a lot more self-worth because you're able to overcome your circumstances. So it does take time as well. But I will say, I'm sorry to hear your circumstances, and I hope that you can make it through World Teller.
Likewise.
Mm-hmm. And Blueberry Star definitely has great thoughts about that as well. Okay, so that would actually wrap up the artist panel. I know it's been a long one, and I think there has been a lot of great discussion so far.
Mm-hmm.
But we will be moving on to the segment that we usually do at the end of each podcast, which is the Artwork of the Week segment, where we showcase artwork that has left an impression on us or has really impressed us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
and let us change our screens.
Okay, I have mine open, so let me just start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll just start then. So, oh man, this feels so heavy.
Yeah, it really has been.
Such a deep conversation.
But yeah.
It feels a bit weird to transition to something more lighthearted.
Well, maybe this is one way to transition, that if we are doing art, just remember that what we do is definitely a privilege, and it can be a lot of fun, and it can allow us to even escape into a world sometimes of our own creation. And that could be something that really helps you to get up in the morning, get excited about something, and hopefully inspire people one day. And this artwork by X Yang has definitely been one of those artworks that has really resonated within me. And one of the reasons why that I really love his works is his ability to world build. It's just so imaginative. And at the same time, the designs are so fresh as well. He's willing to experiment with shapes that are not so common. And I've never seen a ship design quite like this as well. And it really creates a world where I wish I can sometimes escape into and explore as well in a game, perhaps. So yeah, this is an artist that has really inspired me lately.
And for my art of the week, I actually found this artist just recently, and his name is Hen, and his tag on Instagram is Hen Draws, and all of his artwork is mostly architecture and environment design. And what I really love about this piece in particular is just the technique that he uses to describe the details and form. And I really like this kind of style of sketching. And a lot of my recent daily sketches are actually quite inspired by this.
Oh, cool. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what you've come up from those, man.
Yeah, make sure you check my Instagram
for
updates.
Yeah, follow, leave a like, all that stuff, all that good stuff.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you have no shame at all, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the artwork of the week. And that does bring us to the end of the podcast. And yes, it has been a very long one, but we really hope that you guys have enjoyed it. And we would love to hear your thoughts actually in the chat, or maybe afterwards of what you guys think of the concept of artist panel. And if you have enjoyed it, maybe even what we can discuss next. And maybe if you guys would like to take part of it as well, when we put out the notice for the next one, you guys can submit your answers, your video answers, or even type responses as well, and have the chance to have it featured. So I really hope that this can be something that we can do for many podcasts to come. And of course, if you find this episode helpful to you, we would really appreciate it if you could help us share the word. following us on Instagram and Facebook for updates on upcoming content, on YouTube to watch our previous episodes, and of course on Twitch to catch future episodes live. We also now have a Facebook group for the community, which you can join through the link in the chat or in the description of this video once we upload it. And yes, for the hashtag as well, we will be putting it in the description so you can submit your own answers even to this episode's topic by tagging us on our social media at hashtag TDT Artist Panel 12, and even your suggestions as well. We would be more than happy to hear it.
Yeah, please let us know if you have any feedback or comments about the artist panel and how we can make it better. And as Jourdan said, suggestions for the next topic or things that you want to hear from different artists that maybe you feel like it's hard to gather information on. But
yes,
yeah, just send us suggestions. And
of
really
course,
thank you guys for sorry. Really thank you guys for coming to the stream, because it's actually been a while since our big episode, and we have quite a number of viewers today, so I really appreciate, you guys watching.
All of you for being here and for sharing as well your thoughts and even opening up to us. It really does mean a lot to us, and hopefully some of the advice on this podcast will help you guys out one way or another. And yeah, if you guys really do need more help and advice with some things, you can try messaging as well on Drawing Table or on our personal social media as well.
And also a special thanks to the artists that given us their answers and thoughts.
Yes,
I know it's not easy to open up.
Yeah, they've been fantastic though. So we really appreciate it. We hope to see you guys at the next Drawing Table.
Yep. See you guys on the next podcast. Thank you guys.
All right. Take care, everyone.